Hello and welcome back to Hollowponds Solo Sagas. We are playing session 2 of Coriolis, the Great Dark. I think this might be the first solo play on the YouTubes of these rules and this Great Dark exploration from Coriolis, the free league publishing game. So, last session we created our character, Georgia, a roughneck who had a few different interesting traits. Georgia is an outcast, which means that there are several reasons why Georgia has decided to go deep delving by themselves, which is incredibly dangerous. And the Delvers faction, which I think there is a thing called the Delvers faction, normally only licenses teams to go delving, but Georgia has either been allowed to go or is just going by themselves. Now, we did do a compelling character card for Georgia. That is on the members videos, so I will mention that now. If you would like to join the Adventurers League, which is the YouTube membership, it helps support these videos, which is an important thing because it helps fund me doing the videos. You can do that by joining the YouTube membership. There should be a join button which should be available on desktop, and they've changed it just recently so it's not so hidden on the app, the YouTube app, to join the membership. There are 2 tiers. There's Superfan Thank You, which supports the production of the videos, and then Early Doors allows you to access the behind the scenes type videos, which includes the one describing Georgia's background and the compelling character parts. So, Georgia, there are a few things that I said I was going to do in between last session and this session. One was choose the crew maneuvers that Georgia will be taking. I think I finished the bird, but if not, I'll mention what our bird, Petra, I think that is how it's spelled. I can't remember if I did that last session. And we also got the equipment that Georgia will be taking with them, and we will do this as the opening scene to Georgia preparing to go and delve in the Red Garden. And there's a reason why we're delving the Red Garden as well, which I discussed in that video. It's to pay a debt. And so the Red Garden is already been quite explored out. And I was thinking about why we're going to the Red Garden and to try and build it up as we're going to go deeper. So our first dive will just be a class 1 delve, going short to end in discovering some glyphs that we will either translate ourselves or we will have to take back to get translated, and then that will give us information leading to our next delve within the Red Garden. That's my plan that I was thinking about. So anyway, the crew maneuvers that I've decided to give Georgia are bait and switch, which means that we can cause an enemy once per combat to lose 1 turn this round. None of these takes an action to do. And just to remind you, we have the trait. I printed some of the stuff out because I don't have the book. The book is on a boat on the way to Hong Kong at the moment, aiming to reach Hong Kong in early November, which it may, based on the fact that today's date is probably the 13th of November, it may have left Hong Kong actually by now, the 13th of November, and be heading to Belgium, because I'm moving to Belgium. I don't know if I've mentioned that recently. I am moving to Belgium. In fact, at the moment, it being the 13th of November, I have been in Belgium for a couple of weeks now, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks. And weekend after next, we are going to the town hall in Ghent to register me as family reunification, so as I can try and get my F card. If you know any of that stuff, if you know what I'm talking about, stick it in the comments. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, yes, because we have the outcast ability, an army of 1. It means that we will draw 2 initiative cards in a combat. So we get to go twice, which is the same as a ferocity 2 creature. But bait and switch will mean that we can cause a creature once in 1 round to lose 1 of their turns by basically doing a feint and causing it to go left when really it should have gone right, and we can cause it to lose 1 initiative turn. So if it's got 2, it will lose 1 for that turn. And next one is bird call, which means that we can give our bird an action, task it to do something without consuming an action. Every time we task the bird to do something, so if we get the bird to attack, it consumes 1 of our actions to get the bird to attack. But we can once per combat cause the bird to do an attack without causing 1 of our actions, so technically getting 3 actions on that turn. There are a few things that we can get the bird to do. We can get it to pick something up, go somewhere, attack something, defend something. There are some things that we can get the bird to do. And finally, we have fearless. Fearless means that we can avoid needing to lose despair or make a despair roll when we face a horrific entity, a horrific creature. We can hold ourselves tight. So we can do that. We're basically once per every combat, we cannot be scared by a thing. One of the things that we have decided when we were doing the compelling character is that I was thinking is, how does Georgia hold themselves together as a solo person going down into these terrifying delves, which made me think of the Mountain Man series of books by Keith C. Blackmore that I mentioned last month in the Zombie Month videos. So Gus relies heavily on alcohol. And so what we decided was that Georgia will have some form of dependency, a drug dependency that Georgia will consume during the downtimes, either out of a delve downtime or when creating a delve camp. Georgia will consume this drug. And in the initial phase, I am saying the drug is some form of alcohol. It may be a blight produced alcohol, something quite hardcore that will cause that dependency roll that we need to do. And then we will increment it using the vice clock. I'll show you on the little thing. The vice clock, which comes with the compelling character trifold. I'll stick a link to the compelling character trifold in the description of this video if I remember. There's a little card that comes with it that you can then create to flesh out your character a bit more to create a more compelling character. So we will have Georgia potentially have a falling into that vice by consuming too much to deal with the loneliness and the terror. Because one of the things we said, because Georgia has the deep voice, is that that was Georgia's twin who died in the event that we described last session. That why Georgia is an outcast, because their team basically attacked each other after finding an artifact. Georgia has this voice within them, which is Georgia's twin, and we could say that the artifact possibly caused that to happen. So something, the blight or something, it actually is a blight scar, the 2 voices, the deep voice. So we can say that we have this thing within Georgia, and that's also possibly why Georgia drinks, to suppress that voice. So a bit of background on Georgia and the equipment. So what we'll have before we start the delve, we will have a scene, which is the standard, the beginning of Commando when Arnold Schwarzenegger is getting kitted out, sword in belt, checking gun, all that stuff. So what Georgia has taken is I have taken loads of supply for Georgia. Now, an outcast, instead of carrying 4 supply, carries 10 supply in a single slot. And so Georgia has a huge quantity of supply. So you get to roll a d6 for the number of supply points you get automatically. I assumed that was, so if 4 is the maximum, and we're rolling a d6, and we can carry 10 as a maximum, I rolled 2 d6 and a d3 to give me my starting points, and then I paid up to get 60 supply points. So Georgia can go down diving for a long period of time. We've basically got no cash left. So Georgia, so also as an outcast, you can carry your strength plus 6 full item slots, which would give us 11 slots, plus we can have a backpack as one of our items that we can acquire from the Explorers faction, the Delving faction. as one of the things. So that backpack gives us +2 slots. I think it was +2 slots. It might have been +1 slot. So I've got it down as +2 slots. So we've got 6 slots full of supply. Then we have a climbing kit, which will give us +2. The climbing kit is one of the basic tools. We have a deep scanner, which gives us +3 for our deep scan, which also is one of the basic things. We have a book of glyphs, comes with that. We have the Garuda device, which allows us to communicate with the bird. We have a breaching charge, which we got because we're a roughneck, and we have a pickaxe, which we got because we're a roughneck. We're using a standard suit, which is bulky. We have a comlic. It's got a filter, which gives us a +2 to a blight check once, and then the filter's consumed. We have a lantern, and it's okay in vacuum, but it is bulky, so we get a -2 when we have to do an agility check. It has 5 blight protection and a 2 armor rating. We purchased a longsword, which gives us +2, 3 damage, 4 crit. And we have a Fusiliers rifle, which is +2 to hit, 2 damage, 3 crit. Both of those are two-handed weapons. And that is the stuff. So we can see weapon going on Georgia's back. Georgia will reach into the collar, pull up the small model of the little model ship, give it a kiss, push it back down under the collar of their suit, and then lock their helmet into place. There's going to be some stops every now and then as I blow my nose. I have a post-PAX cold, which sucks, but it's on the way out. It's on the way out now. I'm feeling like it's just on its way out, but that's what you can hear in my voice. I've not gone all gravelly and wonderful. And the bird has illusionary, I think I did say this, has illusionary veil, which means that it can sit on our shoulders and hide us. And it has a phoenix engine, which means that if the bird dies, it will resurrect itself. Once per delve or once per something or another, but it's all the rules. Now, I only have the PDF to work through on my tablet at the moment. I don't have the book. The book is on that boat at the moment. So let's start our delve. So we are delving in the Red Garden. We will use the original location, which is the Howling Mines, which is one of the locations that we can delve. So the Red Garden is on the planet Amalurum, I believe. It's either on one of the moons orbiting Amalurum, or it's on the surface of Amalurum. We are in the Jumla system. I'm pretty sure it's on Ep.2, which would probably be one of the moons, in the Jumla, Amla 2, in the Jumla system. It's where the birds were found, so it's in the original place where the birds are found. It was found about 40, 50 years ago, I think. It has been explored out. It's a mid-level trench covered in the blight, and ruins were discovered and explored. We are going specifically to begin with into the Howling Mines. The stone that once formed temples and monuments of the Red Garden was carved from these depths, leaving behind a labyrinth of tunnels that spiral endlessly beneath the valley. As the gale from the asteroid's surface enters the mines, an uncanny howling sound echoes through the tunnels. The deeper you go, the more the sound shifts into something alien and profoundly disturbing. These are the things that we would see, and that we will interpret our roles with this as a view. There are slabs of rock that dwarf any human, so huge slabs of rock. There are faint tremors every now and then that send dust spiraling down. The near constant howl of the gales finds its way through the mine. So a lot of times we can hear this background sound of this gale. We would be in a very sparse mining camp, because these mines are not as frequented so much by delvers. So the camp has just got a few people hanging on, very bare resources. We've managed to scrape together what we can to start delving. So how do you delve as an outcast solo? So we first need, before we enter the Red Garden, we need to make sure that we have the basics. Why are we going? We need an objective. So we want an objective. So this is just going to be a class 1 delve, which I'll get onto in a minute. But our delve is going to be read the glyphs. Delve name, reading the glyphs. So our objective is to find, so we have been told, or we were aiming to find, maybe it was our twin, one of the things our twin wanted, so the debt we are paying is to our twin, is to find this mystical item, this artifact, or this heirloom type object. It's not an heirloom, is it? It'll be an artifact within, not just the shards, but it's a proper artifact that it was rumoured had been seen, or maybe it was at that point of vision from the event that basically killed our team, that is somewhere within the Red Garden, deep, and we need a clue to find the next stage of where to delve, and that will be gleaned from finding the glyphs and interpreting them. If we can make the roll to interpret them, great. Otherwise, we will MacGuffin the story so we don't block progress, and we will say that we would need to find someone to interpret them. If we can convince them to interpret them, great. Otherwise, we'll have to do a job for them to interpret them. Someone will interpret these glyphs for us somehow to move our story forwards. But the aim, the end of this journey, is a hall with glyphs to interpret. Find the glyphs and read them. So the end point of this delve will be a wall full of glyphs. So we could roll for the delve mission, but I've decided that's what we're going to be. Pick a district, we've already decided. It's going to be the Howling Mines. We want a delve class. We're only making it a class 1 delve. Now, class 1 delve is the lowest classification, the most common, non-existent to very low blight levels, easy to navigate, no major obstacles reported, can be taken without a delving suit. We're going to take a delving suit anyway. But the first delve we go on, instead of doing a random roll, because this is the sort of thing that always happens to me, I go, let's do a random roll. 3. Oh, it's only a class 2, so that wouldn't be that bad. A 4 would be a class 3. Basically, we've never delved before. We've not used these rules before. We will start with a class 1, get that done under our belt, and then we will progress forwards and see what happens next. So we have our log. We, of course, because we don't have a GM and a delving without a map, we are doing abstracted delving. These rules, so a lot of Free League solo rules abstract, which I'm a big fan of, abstracting detail when you're solo playing. You don't need to have a map necessarily because you can abstract it. So, first off, we will have a scene, and the scene basically is going to be, we have our pickaxe over one shoulder, the fuselage rifle is across our back. We are wearing our standard delving suit, our bird Peter, who is Peter, who is a deep purple, quite fluffy with a long beak, has been making chirping noises and communicating with us, and we're saying, "Don't worry, we're traveling now." Though it's so deep voice has 2 voices, but I can't do that. There is a lighter voice and then a deeper voice whenever deep voice Georgia speaks. There are 2 voices come out. "We will continue, Peter. We need to explore this cave, the Howling Mines, and find where the glyphs are. Come on, we've done this before and we will do this until we find the artifact." So first off, we will enter, so the Howling Mines is basically a quarry. It goes deep. The entrance is got not so much blight because this is just a class 1. And so the place where we've been told that we should go and explore we can still see the remains of. So have you ever seen where a lichen has died, and you can see that where it's held onto the stone, and it's sort of carved edges into it, but it's died away. This area of blight, we can see the red staining on the rock. So there is atmosphere at this part on the moon, but as the light from Jumla, the star, casts across the landscape, the rocky, desolate looking landscape, as we have Georgia standing on the edge of this quarry that goes down. There are pitons and there is rope that has been here for ages to assist, so like the climbing kit, so it would give Georgia a +2 to roll. But Georgia is going to stand on the edge, and from their backpack is going to extract this large mechanical scanning device, a bit like a surveying tool that would be used. He's going to situate it onto the edge of the ravine as the rope goes down, direct the scanner down, and then attempt to do a deep scan, because one of the first things you do when you go on a delve is you do a deep scan. Now what this does is it gives you points that you can then spend to do your delving rolls. Basically it's your map, it's the abstracting of your map to allow Deep Voice, Georgia, to then do a delving roll, as Georgia will attempt to then go down into the next level and travel deeper into this the cavernous realms of the Howling Mines to try and find where these glyphs are. So the deep scan is done as a scanning roll. This is a standard 3 league, so what's it, a year 0 D6 generated. Now I've only got restricted D6, so I'm going to use these ones as my main attribute type dice, and I have some red ones which we will use as our gear dice. And we are going to attempt to do our deep scan. So the scan points comes after we do a deep scan roll. The deep scan roll is a logic roll. So our logic is 5. So even though we're a roughneck, we have actually sort of tilted, try an even distribution of our skills. And our deep scanner gives us a +3 to our deep scan. So we roll all of this and we're looking for 6s. So this is Georgia setting up the scan, manipulating it and attempting to do a deep scan to get back as much detail as possible of the Howling Mines to be able to then proceed forward on our delve. We have 4, that's really good. So we get 4 hits, so 4 6s, which is brilliant. We then, for our delve points, deep scan bonus, we then roll these again and total up the number we get. So we have got 5, 10, 15, 18. We have a deep scan bonus of 18 for the reading the glyphs delve. Now, everything that we do as a delver will consume supply, hence how much supply I wanted to bring. So just standing here and doing the scan will consume energy via batteries, will consume oxygen via the suit. It can consume special minerals to put into the deep scanner to get it to scan properly. So we cross off 1 supply to signify that we've stood here for a stretch, about 15 minutes running the scan. Now the next thing we want to do before we go deep into this ravine is we want to check on any of the blight in the area. Now what we do to check on blight is we send our bird forwards to do a blight scan, and I believe that is a logic roll. So it's not a logic, it's insight. So our insight is also 5. So what this is it's using the Guarda device. We communicate with Peter. Peter, we need you to scan ahead. We need to check for blight within the area. Are you able and willing to do this, Peter? Now the Guarda device doesn't give us a bonus, it is just an insight check. So we roll insight and we will get a +1 blight bonus for every 6 that we hit, which is none. So we get none. Now we can push it, but we would take a hope or a heart. I think it would be a hope because this is insight. We would take 1 hope damage because we rolled a 1. So if we pushed, it's standard thing, we can't re-roll the 1, we would take at least 1 damage for that, and then we could try and get some 60s. So at the moment, we have 0 blight bonus. Now we can do that again, but we need to move forwards a certain number of markers, I think. So we start with a 0. I think it's 4 markers we need to move forwards before we do again. So our delve class is 1. Our depth class at the moment, it increases by 1 every 5 markers up to a maximum of 4. So we haven't gone any markers yet, so we're not a depth 1 yet. So we will describe the first scene of our delve. The bird, Peter, has returned and responded and communicated information of where the blight is. And George's, I don't understand. I don't understand what you're saying. Because we've got a 0 for that. We have no distance to exit, so we will start our delving roll. Georgia will pack up the deep scanner, place it back into their pack. We've used up 1 more supply as the bird, Peter, returns back after 15 minutes and we gain no additional information. It could just mean there's no blight. And we will chuck ourselves over the edge and start to lower ourselves down into the Howling Mines to begin exploring, which is a delving roll. So a delving roll is an agility roll. Now our agility is 4, so it's not great. And because of our suit, we get -2, which gives us just a 2. We do have the climbing rope, which counts the same as a climbing kit, which gives us a +2 gear bonus. And because our agility is so poor, we are going to spend 2 points of our deep scan bonus to give ourselves a +2 to this. For every hit, for every 6, means that we clear a zone. We will describe climbing through an additional zone or exploring over stones and rocks to go deeper, and our distance to exit and our foray distance will go up by 1, and then we will move on to do our location check. So we've got a 1 hit. We could push this to see if we can delve a bit deeper and see what we get out of it. Shall we push it? I mean, we would then get possibly we would then take 1 point of health or 1 point of hope. So this would be health. We would say that we'd injured ourselves in pushing. So we'll do it let's see if we can get more 6s. We do take 1 point of damage and we get no additional 6s. So we scrape ourselves and take 1 point of health. Our armor will not protect us from this from it's a push. So we bump ourselves and knock ourselves, and we have moved into 1 zone. So we only lower ourselves the 1 distance. So our distance to exit is 1. Our foray distance is 1. We have not reached a whole class 1 depth yet. So next we then have to do a location check. Now our location check is we roll 2d6, we add to it our foray distance, which is 1. If we get a 15 or more, which of course we don't because that's 2d6, we've reached a key location. Otherwise, we have encountered a hazard or something we need to overcome. I mean, we can spend 1 deep scan bonus to increase this roll by 1d6 once, but we won't. So basically, we can't get a 15 at the moment anyway. So we encounter a hazard. So we can roll on the delve hazard table, the standard delve hazard table, to find the target roll, required skill, and cost of the hazard. Take time to imagine the details of the hazard and attempt to overcome. So we encounter something. We have a 2d6s roll, so we will roll. The black is the class of the hazard, and the red is the type of the hazard. So our class of hazard is the burrower, so the person who does the digging, and our class is a 4. A magnetic surge. Roll 2 random. So there is a magnetic surge. Okay, we can do that. So as we're lowering ourselves down the rope, we've got that scene, the image which I showed last week. So we're lowering ourselves down into a tunnel. We're trying to reach a tunnel which is down slightly to the right. It's slightly deeper than we would normally try and go. Although we scraped ourselves, and as we're lowering ourselves down, the wind changes and our sensors in our suits start to ping. that the magnetic field in the area is starting to go up, and we could potentially lose 2 random items. 2 random items, well, each piece of supply technically counts as an item, but we would say that if it is supply that gets taken, then we would take half of a lot of supply, which would be 5 supply would slip off of us. So there's a ping that starts to go off, warning us that there's going to be a problem. We need to make a logic check to basically try and deal with this situation. I don't know if we've got any equipment. There's jury rig. We can try, and so we have detected the ping. If we get the logic roll, deep scan is not going to help. We don't have any brief scanning. A talent we've got. Maybe we can chuck in lookout as a talent. Would that give us a +2? I think that gives us a +2 dice. With lookout, jury rig isn't going to help. Force is only at a 0, so it's not going to help us anyway. Scan operator, we could have got a +2. We could have got a +2 dice on our scan. Wouldn't have helped. So we've got a scan operator. We're going to use scan operator as a benefit for this, because we are going to say that the suits, in turn, what does the suit have? The suit has a comlink. The comlink we're going to use as an attempt to see the magnetic resonance which is occurring in this part of the tunnel, to try and overcome the fact that there has been a massive wave of geomagnetic force rips up through the tunnel and tries to tear some of the stuff off of our suit. We need at least 1 hit to be forewarned of this and tighten the straps on our equipment. And we have 2 hits. So we, as the wave of energy, bird, hold tight. As the wave of energy buffets against Georgia, who rocks on the rope back and forth, as these magnetic force. It's the same as a comet's tail. 3i Atlas, of course, doesn't have a comet's tail, but should do. Is the particles that are outgassed from the comet that are actually being pushed away by the rays of the sun. The energy coming off the sun, the electrons coming off the sun, are hitting those particles and forcing them back. The magnetic wave of energy pushes against Georgia, who, holding on tight with one hand, tighten straps, clings on, is able to detect the force coming using the sensors and the scanner operation, and prepare for the wave that buffets across Georgia and allows Georgia to reach safety without losing any equipment. So that is our first delve distance. Let's do another delve, and then we'll do another hazard, overcome that, and then we'll close for this session and continue next session with Georgia trying to find the glyphs. So we will delve again, delving being agility. We have the climbing kit to help us, and agility we have -2 because of our bulky suit. And we could spend another 2 points, giving us 14 from our scan bonus, and we'll spend 2 more, meaning we've only got 14 left on our scan bonus. We want 1 6s to give us a move forwards. We don't have any 6s. We will push this again, which again means we will take more damage if we fail. We get no 1s, but also no 6s, which means we are stuck at this point, and we're attempting to look for a way forwards in this part of the tunnel, which means that we know this is another hazard because we can't roll for further distance. So we are stuck in this tunnel for a bit. We move 1 forwards for 1, which is 1 supply. And this delve roll will be another supply, even though we haven't moved forwards 1. So we've consumed 4 supply so far, which gives us a 3, which is another thing to do with the burrower, and a 5, a narrow passage. Roll strength. Fail, impassable, the crew must turn back or use a breach charge. We do have a breach charge, I believe. We do have 1 breach charge. So we could use that to move forwards if we fail this roll. So we have a strength of 5, we have a force of 0, an endurance of 1. We are going to say that we are going to try clearing the rocks. This is going to take a stretch to do, so we'll consume 1 supply, which means we've got 50% of 1 is empty. If we can take 10 in 1 supply slot. So we've already consumed 5 supply and we've not even got that deep. Which means that we're going to attempt to clear this. We have a strength of 5. We have an endurance of 1. We need 1 hit to clear the rocks off of this. Otherwise we're going to have to consume our breach charge to clear this pathway and move forwards. Or return back to the top. Basically, we'll 0 our distance and then restart, trying to find a different way down. We got a hit. So we clear this space of rocks. It takes the stretch of time in clearing the rocks out of the way, and we're able to foray forwards a little bit more, which we will do again because I didn't like ending on that down. We will just use a standard roll, so we're not going to chuck in some additional deep scan bonus dice. So we've had 2 hazards so far. So the first hazard was a magnetic wave. So we've cleared a blocked tunnel, so we're going to crouch down and try crawling through this tunnel and moving forwards. Hopefully we get a hit. We do. Yay! So we get 1, we move forwards 1 more foray distance and 1 more distance to exit, which gives us 2 for our foray distance, which means we still can't get a 15. We get a 6, so we get an 8, which is another hazard. What do we encounter this hazard? It's a 3, again as a burrower. 1, unstable rocks, roll strength, suffer 4 base attack damage, base damage 1, crit 3, and become exhausted. That's if we fail this. So we also have, so as we're pushing through this tunnel, it goes much, much further than we imagined the tunnel would. So we could use endurance. Endurance sounds good for this. So that gives us 5 base dice for our strength and then 1 for endurance as we're attempting to push through this tunnel and keep on moving through. Do we have anything that we could use to help us move forwards? Nothing really. We are just pushing through this. We need 1 hit to be able to push through these rocks carefully without causing a cave in on ourselves. Oh, that's a lot of 1s if we fail. Okay, that is a lot of 1s. If we have to push that, that is a lot of 1s to take damage. We might as well just take a hit. So we have become exhausted, which it will take us a shift to recover from, which means we need to rest for a shift, and we suffer 4 base dice attack. So we roll 4 dice, and we're going to take 1 point of damage for every hit. We take 1 point of damage. So some rocks collapse upon us. It takes us, we're going to give it another shift to say we clear. We have to clear that off of ourselves, and we become exhausted as we push our way out of this tunnel and into the next section to continue our exploration within the Howling Mines. And that is the beginnings of our solo dive. We obviously needed to increase our agility and increase our strength, but 6 is the highest you could go. Our strength is already at 5. Our agility being at 4 is probably low for delving. So I could shift stuff around, but I think I'll leave it at ease for now. So, Coriolis, the deep, dark, and delving. Thank you so much for watching. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for being a subscriber. If you are not a subscriber, do please consider subscribing. And either way, if you enjoy that, hit the thumbs up, and you can add a little comment so the algorithm knows that I'm being watched. Thank you so much to the Adventurers Guild for all of your financial support in producing these videos. Being a member of the Adventurers Guild really dramatically helps these videos be produced, as it really does dramatically help the impact, as the advertising revenue that comes through a channel like this is negligible, to be honest, negligible. So the people who are members of the Adventurers Guild really do help. There are 2 tiers. There's the Superfan Thank You, which is a background support, supporting the channel and supporting the production of videos. And then there is the Early Doors, which is the major supporting contributors, and they get access to all of these videos approximately 3 weeks early, though I think we've dropped down to 2 at the moment because of the move to Belgium, but that is going to be co-op again. There are other ways of supporting by purchasing the books and the trifolds that I have produced on Thru. And that's about it really. Thank you so much for watching. We will continue delving with Georgia next week. See ya.